Hi, I'm Sue Stockdale, your host of Access to Inspiration, the podcast with a social mission to help you be inspired by people who may be unlike you. We hope their experiences and insights cause you to reflect on your own perspectives about the world and make you think. Today's guest in episode 86 is Tyrone Mathurin, otherwise known as T, who is a rookie driver in Team BRIT, which aims to become the first all-disabled team to race in the Le Mans 24-hour endurance race, the most iconic endurance sports car race in the world. While riding his motorbike in 2005, T crashed, which caused 4 nerves to be torn from his spinal cord. During surgery to reattach the nerves, doctors were unaware of a hematoma, putting pressure onto his spinal cord, which meant a week later he awoke from an induced coma, paralysed. Fast forward to 2022, and T finds himself sitting in a race car in the pits at Silverstone instead of the spectator area, ready to go out and race in a 50-minute endurance race. So how did that happen? Well, that's what we're going to find out from T today. Welcome to the podcast, T. It's great to speak to you today.
Thank you. Yeah, Sue, thanks for having me.
It was interesting that I met you at Silverstone when I was there watching some motorsport, and I heard your really interesting story and thought you'd be a great guest for the podcast. When you were a youngster and you were thinking about motorsport, did you ever imagine yourself doing what you're doing now?
Not at all. Not at all, Sue. Not at all. As a youngster, it wasn't really something that I felt I could get into. Or someone like myself, from where I'm from, it was non-existent. So it was just pretty much a dream.
When you say somebody like yourself, where you're from, what's your background?
So I'm from South London, home of the iconic Battersea Power Station. And from there, I grew up in a household amongst my 2 younger sisters. My younger sister's father was present for most of my youth. Most of my younger years. School, primary school, secondary, college, so extended the academic year.
Were you interested in speed?
As a youngster, yeah, I was quite interested in motorcycles. Pretty much was my first love. I was BMXer, mountain biker, so I was always on 2 wheels. So my first love started from there and then progressed on to getting older and getting onto mopeds and then progressing higher from there onto the motorcycle, yeah. And it's pretty much what started my career, innit? From a negative to a positive. And then from having a motorcycle accident to getting a chance to race a motorcars.
I also want to get a sense about the reality of life in South London, because I think you did face some tough times.
Yeah, went down path of a criminal lifestyle. Not a lifestyle, but what happened is the pressures of financial constraints of the struggles that we have to go through. You unconsciously think and resort to going down a path of what you're not expected to do. So just that kind of pushes you to going down the wrong road. Lack of opportunities that then it was hard to progress financially, I guess, trying to find a job and stuff. And then when you can't find a job or it's not working out for you, I guess you find yourself looking in other corners to further, yourself.
What happened that caused you to turn your life around?
It took a while, but in your life around, I guess for me personally, your morals come into effect where you know good and bad, right and from wrong. And as well as that, it's just growing up and maturing and knowing what's right. So for me personally, it wasn't something that I wanted to do. It was a long-term thing. Doing what I had done, selling drugs, it was just trying to get me off from being in a misfortunate position.
Given that that was your reality at the time, what happened?
So what happened there was court battle was going through, drugs possession court case, and then I was out on bail, so we were waiting my court case. And at the time, I was signing on at the police station between 6 and 7 on my push bike. And then this one particular day, I think I was late. I would have been late, so I decided to jump on a motorcycle on my motorbike, and then that's where life went the opposite way for me. So, and it was only literally like 10 meters away from where I lived at the time. I was going down the road, saw my mum, went to slow down, and there was a ditch. There's like a drain. There was a drain cover, a defaulted drain cover, and around it, the road was defected badly. And then that was my end to being an able-bodied person. So, yeah.
And how long did you then spend in hospital?
After that incident happened on that night, I was in hospital for like 2 days trying to figure out what the problem was. The nurses thought it was a broken collarbone, which there was no signs of that. And then further on, 4 weeks later, I had an appointment with a consultant to establish what the problem was, where I think they injected dye into the nervous system and then they figure out the breaks or where nerves are detached from the scans. And then they realized, or should I say, it was known that my nerves detached from my spinal cord, which caused my right arm to not be moving. And yeah, and then a month after that was my operation. And then that was the turn for the worse for me after that, which was when I was paralyzed after the operation.
My goodness. I can't imagine what that must be like. How were you feeling mentally at this time? Because it seemed like from driving along on your motorbike to suddenly then finding yourself in hospital and not where you expected life to be.
Yeah, do you know what? Before the operation, I was quite nervous and I had the thought to want to just cut from the hospital, like, you know what? Nah, this isn't for me. Let me leave. But still went through it. Maybe like a week after, I must have woke up and was paralyzed. So for me, I didn't think nothing. The thought of going into hospital, I thought it was just like a broken leg, mended, fixed out. But then over time, it was like, it started dawning on me like, wow, it's not really that. And then once the doctors come around and tell you what really is the case, and seeing myself in intensive care as well was the realization for me that, yeah, it's not what it seemed to be, just so simple. And, the doctor saying you're paralyzed, it's like, wow, it's like a hard hitter, isn't it? To just take that from being an able person, well, as a young individual as well, active. Yeah, it was quite hard to take at first.
How did you then manage to get through? Did you have family support? Because your life's turned upside down when you realize that that is your reality, I imagine.
Yeah. My mum, sisters, family, friends, they were coming immensely. Like, it was grateful for them to still be, show their support. And I guess it helped in some sense. I couldn't really talk. Intensive care, I was in and out of induced coma. It was much help.
Now I'm wondering how you get from being paralysed in intensive care to being a driver for Team BRIT. What happened next?
So from then on, it was a long road to the beginning of my recovery. I was in intensive care for like 3 months, went onto the ward for another 2, 3 months before being readmitted to rehabilitation hospital, which was for Stanmore Hospital, Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital, Stanmore. I think that was all in all 8 months period of me being on my back. So yeah, and then just dealing with the whole mental health side to it, it wasn't like a support system there to help you through it and what you're going through. I had to do it myself. It was family support as well. I guess that kept my mental stable place. But when you're by yourself, and I don't know, I think it's just me myself. I was always just been a good natured person and always had high hopes for myself. But I don't know what it was that kept me going, but something kept me going. While I was in the rehab hospital, I met someone while doing my physio, because we had physio sessions like in intervals on a daily basis. We had scheduled appointments where we had classes throughout the day. And I met a guy who was in a wheelchair and he passed his rehab and he was doing his outpatients. And he kind of gave me a little talk and broke down, look, listen, this is what it is. And gave me the inspiration that inspired me to not give up and just work hard and you can get through it. So after seeing that and seeing what he had gone through, being in a wheelchair, how he gets about driving, how he drives. So me seeing all that from there, thinking, life was hard to not being so hard. There was no one to look up to who from a disability side of things. So there was no base to build from other than just to be okay with me being alive. You know what I'm saying? So from seeing that, from hearing what he had to say, it gave me a sense of hope and a belief to, yeah, things can happen.
As that recovery then continued, how did you find out about Team BRIT?
As that continued, it was a long time after that, a good few years after that, because after leaving the hospital, I was still interested in bikes. I was still watching motorcycle racing on the TV, Moto GP. I was quite an avid fan. 2011, went to Moto GP qualifying round on the Saturday at Silverstone. 2011 it was a birthday present from a previous relationship, and I'd never thought I would be actually in the pits myself doing motor racing. But it was one day I was just like, no, I need to get back on the bike, or I need to get back on doing something. And I was on the internet just surfing for a conversion for a quad bike. But of course, I couldn't get on a motorcycle, but the next best thing was a quad bike. So I was on the internet surfing and then come across Team BRIT. So then I was like, okay, track day, eyes wide open, like, yes, wow, track day. And that's all I thought was just a track day experience that they were advertising, and then sent an email. And then Dave Player, team principal, emailed me back and then said, yeah, do I want to race? So I was like, huh? Race? What do you mean race? He's like, yeah, do you want to be a racing driver? I was like, what? And then from then straight away, I was like, yep, what do I have to do? How do I get into it? And then, yeah, it just went from there. And, wide smile, and I'm here now.
What a transformation. And in terms of driving a race car, are there any adaptations that are made to the car so that you can drive it, given your disability?
Yeah. So what it is, we have a world-leading hand control system on the steering wheel, which allows me, myself, and others with disabilities in a wheelchair to still change the gears and use the accelerator and the brake on the steering wheel. So you've got the brake lever, which is the paddle shift on the left, and the right accelerator on the right paddle shift. On the front of the steering wheel, you've got two rocker switch either side, either for myself with just in my left hand, or my teammate who's got a similar injury, but he's right hand. So then he can use the right side. But that allows us to change the gears. The innovation behind our hand control system puts us on a level playing field. So once we're in a car, disability goes out the window. So we're both, with able-bodied drivers, we're level. And it's all down to our skill and performance on a day.
So what did it feel like that first time you sat in that car and drove it?
Oh, it was mind-blowing at the start of it, because I've got no motorsport experience at all. So I started in the Team BRIT Academy. Before you get into the academy, you've got an assessment to do to see whether or not you're capable of becoming a racing driver. I had a 45-minute assessment on their sim rig. And then once you pass that, you have various hours doing go-karting, supervision of one of their experienced drivers. And then once you've gone through that assessment and they're happy with your progression, you're forwarded onto the training program at the academy. And then from there, it's like, that's the next level, being at the track for the first time. And like I said before, I went to the Silverstone in Moto GP at the qualifying, and I was sitting in the stand. And at that time, I was in a wheelchair. So then to be further years on, to actually be in the pits and look into where I was, which was at Cops Corner, it was mind blowing. Seeing the track up in person up front and then being on the track doing the training was definitely a dream come true.
What an opportunity to be able to do that and to start to discover your talent of driving.
Yeah, talent. I wouldn't say that, but yeah. I guess you got to have some talent to be in the position I'm in now. But yeah, with thanks to our team manager, driver coach, Jamie Falvery, he's got me up to this point. So throughout the training, hours of training and hours of coaching, thanks to him and the team.
I'm wondering if that resilience you showed recovering in hospital and through your rehabilitation, if that helps you today in your driving and all the training and the things you have to do to keep improving.
Yeah, of course. It's constant improvement to me. Yeah, it's trying to improve every time. It's trying to stay consistent, always want to try and be better. So that stays with you. It's similar to being in hospital. The thing is, when I was in hospital, I guess, yeah, it's the same. I was improving. So with my level progression, every time I was progressing, I'm always working harder. And then you get to that next level. So you're always working to every level, you're always progressing. So you never stop, and you're always improving. If you want to improve, you have to keep working at it.
And what competition you've been in so far?
My first year as a rookie, we're in the Brit Car Endurance Championship. We're in trophy.
How long does a race last?
It's an endurance race. It's 50-minute race each race, and I'm accompanied by my teammate Paul Follick, who drives with me in the 118 BMW. 25 minutes each we have to take. So the first 25 minutes is me or him. You get a 5-minute pit window where we have to pit in, change drivers.
So you're a team even within a race, the two of you are taking part in the one car?
Yeah. We're partnered in the one car.
And in terms of preparing for a race, what sort of preparation do you have to do?
Yeah, what do I do? Me personally, for me, it's not a thing we must keep to, but it's just based on our own personal well-being. I guess it's not something that we're told to do, but personally, I keep fit by regularly going to the gym 3, 4 days a week. As well as that, for me personally, it helps my disability. Even before being with Team BRIT, I was going to the gym regularly, and it helps me because if I don't go to the gym, it affects my mobility. As my disability, got it's like I've got my right leg's weaker than my left leg, so I've got weak hip flex. So I tend to pull my leg through with my hips. If I don't work on my lower legs, it affects my mobility where I tend to fall a lot more. So I work a lot more on my legs to keep me strong on my feet and stop me from taking a few tumbles now and then. But yeah, I work a lot in the gym, keep my physical fit health up. I try and eat correctly, and yeah, just to help me in and out the car. So yeah, that's the only preparation. Before race days, I'd go over footage, over data to see over the track to familiarize myself with the track before. So at least once I get to the track, I can just go out on test days and just attack it and try and gather the relevant data on what I need to improve on for race day.
And given that you've raced quite a number of times already this season, T, what's been the most enjoyable thing you've done?
On race day, the enjoyable thing, we haven't really had enough races due to us having our car being out of action for a few races due to a track day incident where the car had a massive crash where it put our car out and had to be repaired. So it put us out for a few races. But most memorable moment for racing, maybe our first race at Silverstone where we had an incident where my teammate, he had a little oof moment at the beginning of the race. And then the second race, we came back from ninth. I think it was back to sixth or fifth. So yeah, that was a memorable moment because I kind of pushed myself hard to get us right. We need to get back into the mix of it. So yeah, that was a moment for me. Another moment was when we had our sister car while our car was out being repaired. We had a sister car, which was a Volkswagen Sirocco, and I had a little incident with the sausage curve at Cops Corner. So we damaged the suspension, and that was the first time for me seeing like the actual team get to work and do their thing. So over the course of that night, they were working throughout the whole night trying to get the suspension fixed. You saw the crew just getting down the dirt with trying to get the car back for us to race the next morning, and seeing how they pulled the stocks out was amazing to see the team effort and the teamwork and what goes on behind the scenes, what no one don't see. So yeah, that was one of the memorable moments for me.
And as you look ahead to the remainder of this year and into the future, what are your ambitions as being part of Team BRIT?
Oh, still be here, still be with the team. But with our goal on 2024 to be in Le Mans 2024 hour first disabled team to do that, yeah, that's one thing I'm looking forward to. But with the team and what we're doing, you never know. We're always surprising, pulling things out, surprising. So you never know. But I'm willing to be part of whatever's in the future prospects. A lot of the congrats, and we've got to thank it all to the sponsors as well, because without sponsors, yeah, we wouldn't be able to be showing what we can do or carving a way for those with disabilities and in motorsport. So yeah, so a lot of thanks to the sponsors as well.
If you could go back and give that younger T some advice, that teenager T, bearing in mind what you've learned about life and motorsport now, what would that bit of advice be that you would give yourself?
I guess the advice I'll give my younger self, don't change who you are. Just stay fulfilling the dream. When you got a dream, stay fulfilling the dream, stay passionate about it, and don't give up. Yeah, there's no A or B in this. It's just an A. I grew up thinking there's an A and a B, whereas you leave A to go to B, then it's like your dream of A is like it's just short lived. So I guess now I'm older, I understand you got to persevere through what you believe in, and over time it will happen. So yeah, yeah.
I'm sure that's useful advice for our listener who may have a dream
Yeah.
and sometimes be questioning whether it'll ever happen or not.
Do you know what? I've realized you can be doing something for over like maybe 6 years, 7 years, maybe, and in that eighth year, it could happen for you. And that's just from you just sticking to it and not giving up. So just persevere, stick through it, work hard through it. And that's been the thing. That's been the success for successful people where they've stuck through it. And so my younger self, yeah, I just stick to your dream and don't give up. Don't give up. Yeah.
Brilliant. I think what we've heard from you today, T, is you've described that perseverance, that determination, that keep working hard in how you've been able to achieve what you have.
Yeah. Well, me personally, I'm loving it. I'm loving the journey, and I'm always trying to improve. I'm always trying to better myself. So yeah, going into every race, I'm always trying to improve from the last race. So that and that I guess that will carry me through in just my life off the track as well. Just personally, just always improve, always trying to be a better person. And thankful with the team, they've helped me because not only being a better person, it's made me a more confident person, more outspoken. Do you know what I'm saying? I would have thought I'd be doing a lot of these interviews, or I've done radio interviews. It's not been one of them things for me, but I'm surely getting used to it. So yeah, I'm thankful, like gracefully thankful.
Well, I'm sure your words will be inspiring for our listeners in this podcast. It's been really great to talk to you, to get your story. I wish you well into the future and for next year and further on.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for having me. And yeah, thank you.
I hope you enjoyed what T had to say, and we wish him well in 2023. Remember, you can read a transcription of this episode and all our other episodes on our website at accesstoinspiration.org. Next week, I will be discussing the important subject of sleep with my guest, Dr. Sarah Gilchrist, a sports scientist with an expertise in sleep and well-being, who's spent 20 years in the UK high-performance sport industry. I hope you can join us then.